So we often ask this question, Parminder, that, hey, my dad has got this condition. What is the likelihood of me getting it? So do we have any set of, so do you have any genetic set of tests?
If we don't do any genetics, then if you just look at heritability data, I mean, there have been some family studies before genetics, all the genetic tools came about. People used to do family studies and twin studies to find out what the genetic component was. So if you have a first-degree family member, then your risk goes up twofold. So it's not a huge risk, huge increase in risk, but it's a twofold increase. But if you have a very strong genetic, it's a familial thing, right? Multiple family members or multiple generations affected, then you suspect that you may have a autosomal dominant kind of mutation. And those mutations we can test most of them we can test now, not all of them. We still have, I think, the cases where we can't find anything. But in Alzheimer's disease, we know at least 3 mutations, that 3 genes that cause this kind of mutation, and they can be tested. So you can actually do a test. The other thing we sometimes can do is, because see, most of the people who develop dementia later in life, Alzheimer's disease in particular, later in life, don't have a single mutation. It's not autosomal dominant mutation. We think it's because of multiple errors, multiple mutations, or we call them polymorphisms. So these are differences in the population, and certain variations in the gene increase your risk. But each gene may have a small increase, cause a small increase only. ApoE4 has the biggest impact there. But then there are several other diseases. Now we know over 60 genes that can influence your development of dementia. You can actually do that. You can do a genome-wide association study and come up with what we call a polygenic risk score, which to some extent can predict your risk. The problem is that it doesn't necessarily tell you when you will develop it.
And if you will develop it.
Only a risk, it doesn't mean that you will necessarily develop it.
Yes, exactly.
So we don't generally recommend doing it because it doesn't necessarily help you in predicting. But if you want to do it, it can be done. And there were companies that are offering that, say, without a doctor's sort of recommendation, direct over-the-counter kind of thing. Yeah.